love of fate, or Amor Fati, is a concept found in both Nietzschean and Stoic philosophy. No matter how hard we strive toward a goal, the aim is to appreciate and embrace whatever the result is. In this approach, we remove our fear about the future and dissociate ourselves from potential outcomes, which improves our capacity to concentrate on the work at hand. Naturally, the following question is, how can we accomplish this? In this video, I explore 4 ways to practice Amor Fati. Now let's dive in. The concept is straightforward, but putting it into practice can be challenging because most people's thoughts quickly wander to the future and start to fantasize about potential outcomes. We either want or dislike a particular outcome when we are anxious about the future. Anxiety arises from the thought of not achieving a desired result. The possibility of experiencing an undesirable result causes us anxiety. Therefore, the mental turmoil we experience stems from our attachment to the results. To solve this, Epictetus argues that we should remove desire and aversion in regard to things that are not in our control. If you desire any of the things which are not in your own control, you must necessarily be disappointed, and of those which are, and which it would be laudable to desire, nothing is yet in your possession. Use only the appropriate actions of pursuit and avoidance, and even these lightly, and with gentleness and reservation. Now, this is easier said than done. According to the Stoics, people tend to pursue and resist things that do not truly enhance their lives. As an example, we instinctively pursue things like wealth, nutritious food, companionship, and social interaction. The Stoics referred to these things as indifference, comprising both preferred and dispreferred indifference. Therefore, it makes sense that worry would arise at the thought of losing or not acquiring particular chosen indifference. On the other hand, the Stoics assert that happiness does not depend on these outside variables. This is fantastic news because they would be incredibly erratic sources of happiness, being beyond our control. Still, many people obsessively worry about the future. We can't control the outcome, so there's no use trying to do so in an attempt to calm this storm of nervous thoughts. What we can control, however, is the position we take towards the outcome, which the following 4 ways will be about. 1. Exposure. Expose yourself to the things you fear intentionally. Most of the time, our fears are not as dreadful as we imagine. For instance, many people fear poverty, influenced by societal messages that portray it as undesirable. Someone afraid of poverty may question how they can survive without a large home, a high-end car, frequent vacations, dining out regularly, and other luxuries. Facing these fears directly can diminish their hold on us by revealing that the anticipated negative outcomes are often not as severe as we believe. This exposure helps us confront adversity, fostering resilience in the face of challenges. The Stoic philosopher Seneca captured this sentiment with the following quote: "It is precisely in times of immunity from care that the soul should toughen itself beforehand for occasions of greater stress, and it is while fortune is kind that it should fortify itself against her violence." The Stoics emphasize that true happiness results from our actions and is not dependent on external circumstances. Therefore, if the fear of poverty plagues you, consider spending some time in a simpler lifestyle to learn that poverty may not be as dreadful as perceived. Another common fear is being unmarried and alone. If this fear resonates with you, try taking a break from relationships and focus on finding happiness on your own terms. Realizing the potential positivity of solitude can dispel the fear of being alone and empower you to cultivate contentment independently. This approach also guards against staying in abusive relationships, enabling us to pursue the life we desire without fearing the consequences. 2. Can see change as an opportunity. Upon reflection, I've realized that many of the fears I harbored in life have materialized. I've faced numerous job losses, been expelled from school multiple times, and missed out on various opportunities and relationships. It seemed as if life was in a perpetual quest for equilibrium because, in return, I also gained other things. Due to the financial crisis, securing employment after graduating from college proved challenging. In the direst circumstances, I found myself compelled to undertake several menial tasks that brought me no joy. Looking back, the experiences I went through during these years were genuinely transformative. If my life had unfolded according to plan, I would never have had the chance to engage in the activities I did or evolve into the person I became. Thus, I am grateful that things unfolded as they did. Epictetus once said, "Don't demand that things happen as you wish, but wish that they happen as they do happen, and you will go on well." While we may fear losing our money, marriages, and jobs, fresh circumstances always carry hidden potential, no matter how dreadful. Marcus Aurelius, in his Meditations, advises us to strive for a constant awareness that everything is born from change, and to understand that nature's greatest pleasure lies in modifying the existing and creating new things that resemble it. Everything is but the seed of what will grow from it. 3. Realize that happiness is relative. Brickman, Coates, and Janoff Bullman conducted a study in 1978 to investigate the possibility that happiness is a relative concept. They examined a sample of lottery winners, a group of people with physical disabilities, victims of accidents, and a control group. Naturally, one would anticipate that a lottery winner would be considerably happier than an accident victim who became paralyzed. Furthermore, it seems reasonable to assume that lottery winners would be considerably happier than the control group, who neither won nor lost and were not immobilized. This was indeed the case throughout the first several weeks or so. However, a year later, the lottery winners and the controls were just as happy, if not happier, than the accident victims who had suffered paralysis. Given that happiness is subjective, why should we be afraid of the future? The future itself is probably not as bad as the time and energy we waste worrying about it. Last year, my neighbor was diagnosed with cancer. Currently, the doctors are not very optimistic, and there's a chance he won't be around for the new year. When I dropped by to see him recently, he mentioned feeling great. Despite the tough situation, he's thankful for each day and makes the most of life. Thus, regardless of the tragedy that occurs, we are aware that happiness and well-being are always possible despite the new circumstances. Furthermore, in the face of adversity, we could feel, quite unexpectedly, much better than before. 4. Be present. All the strategies I've just mentioned emphasize that regardless of what unfolds, we possess the capacity to adapt to the new situation. It is a misconception that our external circumstances must align for us to find happiness. Both happiness and dissatisfaction are relative states. The future is merely another path, neither inherently good nor bad, unless our minds shape it as such. Existence itself embodies change. To resist change is to resist existence. We step into the future the moment we resist change, attempting to cling to the present instead of embracing it for what it is. It's crucial to acknowledge that neither the past nor the future truly exists. There is only the present. Fate unfolds in the here and now. Accepting one's fate can only happen in the present moment. So, why fret about a future that hasn't materialized yet? When it does, cherish it for what it is. Appreciate it before it slips away, as you may later regret not seizing the opportunity while it was still within reach. The philosophy of Amor Fati involves accepting things as they come and refraining from looking too far ahead. As Seneca wrote about Epicurus, who endured painful diseases, today and one other day have been the happiest of all. Thank you for watching.